Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
What's up, y'all? It's Jeff Cobb, and you're listening to Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show on Social Suplex Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. Listener discretion is advised at all times.
Thank you once again for downloading and listening to another episode of the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, part of the Social Suplex Podcast Network. My name is Clive and I am joined by my partner in crime, Ricky. Good evening to you, sir, and how are you?
Good evening. Doing well. Just so, before we get started really, if there's any kind of break and feed, if there's any sort of tech issues, it's because we've had a bit of a quote-unquote storm over here. So my Wi-Fi has been kind of playing up all day apparently. Or
if there are any connection issues, it's because Brexit has collapsed the country.
That's it.
With positive news instead, a little reminder to everyone that if you want to get your hands on some over 4,000 hours of independent wrestling to a streaming device of your choice, you can go to powerslam.tv and put in the promo code Social Suplex, caps lock, all the one word, and you'll get a free month's worth of that content, and then it's so many dollars after that. I can't remember how many it is off the top of my head. Not much though.
I mean, I can't imagine you're going to go over 4,000 a month anyway.
You can't.
It's a good deal.
It is a good deal.
And while we're sharing some news, I'll share some news as well, just to let people know. Scotland voted to remain.
When was this?
For Brexit, talking about, since we had the Brexit little thing.
All right, back in the day.
Fuck's sake.
So, this is our first episode back since we did the first round of the Quiztime Invitational last week. I would say it was a reasonable success. It seemed to go down well with the fan base. Some tweaks I would like to add, but that's for the managers meeting off air, so we'll get to that another time. But because we were doing
Sorry, or what we could just do is we could have the managers meeting on air.
Patreon exclusive. Before we do that though, no, not before we do that, because of that, it seems like we've missed a lot of content over the last couple of weeks. So obviously we'll be talking about Fastlane, but a heck of a lot has happened that we haven't addressed on air, and there is enough to fill 4 hours worth of podcast time. But knowing us, naturally we'll forget half of it and spend 5 hours talking about how amazing Joe Coffey is instead.
5 weeks and counting until I get to see him again.
Yep. Do you think he'll say, "Alright Ricky, how you doing, pal"?
No, but I'd imagine half the audience are going to be singing Celtic songs.
Probably. Right, so will we start with Fastlane then and just see where that takes us, because there will be many long and winding roads tonight. So let's get tore in.
Let's start.
What were your views on Fastlane overall?
So, quick rundown. I enjoyed the Shield versus whatever you want to call that team.
Yep.
The SmackDown title match, really enjoyed that as well. The Fatal 4-Way was also an excellent watch. I did enjoy the SmackDown tag title match as well. Charlotte and Becky, that it's more so what happened. Like, was the match itself. It wasn't a match.
You wouldn't have been able to get a good match out of that with what the story was all about.
Yep. So, and we got what we expected to get. So yeah, overall, I thought I really enjoyed 4 of the matches. I thought 3 of those 4 were extremely good, with some real, oh my goodness, kind of moments, like kind of putting your hands in front of your face, kind of moments. Overall, yeah, it was a good pay-per-view, because normally sometimes you kind of just want to get through the middle period between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. We don't expect too much to happen. Now, granted, I don't think anything happened that anyone didn't expect, but it was still it was a fun show.
Yeah, you touched on the US title match, the Fatal 4-Way, and I had to re-watch that just before we started tonight because I felt as if I didn't really... The time that I've watched the pay-per-views, I'm in and out the house doing stuff, getting ready for work, so I didn't pay that much attention to it, so I watched it back, and it was good, as you say, very high octane, some really good moves in there. The problem for me with this one is, and let's not take anything away from Samoa Joe because he is long overdue some recognition in the form of a title, but this rivalry between Almas and Mysterio, for me, this is screaming out for a title to be on the line between those two. And I think that so much so that the match that happened on Sunday, Samoa Joe and R-Truth were basically, they were props, they were toys that that Andrade and Mysterio used quite literally to wrestle each other. It reminds me of, see when people have someone else on their shoulder and the person on top is fighting. Like a pillow fight. That's what it was like, literally at some points. It's as if they were just there to literally prop them up, give them a bigger platform to show what they can do with the double hurricanranas, the general sequencing of it all. So, I don't know, it seems like there's so many people in that mid-card scene in SmackDown who are so intertwined with one another that the only road I can see them going down is that the US title match will be the one that gets a ladder match at WrestleMania for, let me see, Andrade, Mysterio, R-Truth, Samoa Joe. Do you know, maybe Ali could be in the picture for that one.
Because he's still got some kind of business to be dealt with Joe.
Ali?
So, yep. We've had a kind of back and forth prior to Ali getting injured. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I know a lot of people are speculating it could be Joe versus Cena. I just don't think, we've got 3 SmackDowns left. I just don't think that's long enough to build that match.
No,
you can build it, but not the way it deserves.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I could see them going down that route where it could be. I don't think it'll be a fatal 4-way. Like you said, it could be a ladder match where there's another two wrestlers involved. And I do agree with you what you were saying that Ray and Andrade, it'd be nice if there was a title, because I think that would kind of be the cherry on top. But I could watch Andrade and Ray wrestle, for the entire 6 hours that WrestleMania is going to be on, or 8 hours, or how long it's going to be.
It feels like it will be 8 hours now with the amount of rumoured matches for the card.
And in fairness, the pre-show's 2 hours?
Mm-hmm.
And the show itself is going to be, between 5 and maybe 5.5? Maybe close to about 5:10, which is kind of a norm now. So it doesn't bother me too much. But yeah, this looks like it will be the multi-man match.
If they go down that road, because we don't know, with the Tommaso Ciampa neck injury, there's an open door for the NXT title. So could that be the ladder match at WrestleMania weekend? I don't know what's going to happen there.
I don't think anything happening on NXT is going to be a like, we can't do this on WrestleMania. Like, it's just something completely different. I don't think whatever they do on NXT is just completely separate to what they're going to do on WrestleMania, so I don't think it would bother them to do two or three or however multiple matches of men and women. So yeah, I could maybe see them doing that in NXT, but I'm also I think that's the route they're probably going to go down with the US title. Partly because, like I say, it's just not enough time for Joe versus Cena. Like, that's a big match, so you kind of need to flesh that out a little, and rather than trying to fit everything in the space of 3 weeks.
Yeah, my reservations about Cena aside, a match like that with Samoa Joe needs time to breathe, because you need the promo battles for that one for sure, and they've not got much time left to do that.
Yeah, and that's it, and that's what would build the match. You can't just suddenly, a couple of weeks of SmackDown, expect everyone to be completely hyped for it. You know, I think the intriguing part of the thing that a lot of people will be looking forward to is the back and forth on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the end of the day, like, it's not even 3 weeks. It's going to be 2 weeks, really, because Joe's in that gauntlet match next week.
Yes.
So, you know, you are only looking at 2 SmackDowns, and that's nowhere near enough time. I think they are going to go down the multi-man route.
While it's up in the air whether they will do that, I think it's less up in the air that it will be Joe Cena, because, as you say, there's just not enough time at the moment. Well, I'll touch on that gauntlet match later, but you'd mentioned Ali there as well. For what he did on Sunday night, I was worried that was going to be an absolute disaster. Feeding him to the wolves, and Vince McMahon had promised the fans that Kofi would be in the triple threat match, and then he wasn't. And then Ali comes out to a dead crowd, a potentially hostile crowd, but definitely a dead one. And it's a testament to him that he put his body on the line, literally, on a number of occasions to win that crowd back over. And Ali's used to fighting in front of dead crowds. He's done it for years now, so it's not something it's alien to him. But with that booking of that match, not that match as such, the whole thing with Kofi, was that necessary? What they did to him throughout that pay-per-view?
Was it? I think it was a case of the quote-unquote the authority or whoever kind of wanting them maybe to check him in place and let him know that we don't really care what other people want. And we're not, you know, at the end of the day, this is my decision. You know, I own the place. So I don't think it was necessary as such, but I think I can kind of have an idea of why they were trying to do it, which, because, you know, then led to the SmackDown segment with Vince, which then led to the gauntlet match getting announced.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it was necessary. I don't think you needed to do that, but I think what they were hoping for is maybe to generate more support for Kofi or keep that buzz going, and I don't think it was a case of we just want to knock him down 1 or 2 pegs just for the sake of doing it. I think there might have been a reason behind it. I don't know, like I'm on the fence on it. You know, It's not something that I'm overly bothered about. Because I don't even know if I want Kofi to win it at WrestleMania anyway.
Right.
I think that's more so down to, because of how great Daniel Bryan is doing right now. So, don't get me wrong, like, if Kofi wins, it's a great moment. But I'm thinking, you know, Daniel Bryan is arguably the best thing in WWE at the moment.
Uh-huh.
So,
well, that's what the Mania is usually used for the ultimate victory. That underdog victory to overcome the odds. So while I do agree that Daniel Bryan is one of the best entities going at the moment, he's got to be toppled at some point.
He does, and if it is Kofi, I don't expect it to be a long title reign. Maybe defend it 1, maximum 2 pay-per-views. I don't see him having it up until SummerSlam. But so, like I said, I think he wins a Gauntlet match next week, and I do think he goes on and wins it at WrestleMania. Yeah, and just to sort of touch on your Mustafa Ali, I don't think there was ever a chance that the crowd are going to turn on him.
It was just such an odd atmosphere.
It was. Probably because it was kind of like, oh right, okay, Mustafa Ali's been added to into this, and as much as I love him, you're like, why?
Uh-huh.
You know, it was like not in a negative way, and like not in a bad way. I mean, like just like, oh, right, okay, it doesn't really make sense, but okay, let's go along with it because he's such a great wrestler. So yeah, like I said, I think he's so over with the crowd, and he's genuinely so well liked that people aren't going to turn on him or hijack his moments or his segments and turn against him. I think he's that universally loved by people, because I think people just genuinely realise that you've got a proper guy.
Yeah. See, with my booking hat on, maybe Ali was included in that match so as to eat the pin, basically. So that Daniel Bryan can still win the match, so that Kevin Owens still looks strong by not being pinned. It gains sympathy for all involved, especially Kofi. But it's just, what's that phrase? A king's role is to simply rule and rule simply at that. And with Vince McMahon being the king, is he doing that so well? There's been murmurs of people saying that the storylines are too convoluted at this time of year. My response to that is, if you've got a brain, then surely you can follow it. But even then, is this all necessary? But could that actually be feeding into Vince McMahon, the character, who's just... I mean, we knew from the offset that we are the authority was a load of shit, basically. And Vince is just doing whatever decision he wants. He's kind of losing the plot a wee bit on screen as well, so maybe that's just feeding into that, perhaps. I don't know what you think about that.
I think when you talk about the storylines being too convoluted, and your response is to what? Do you have a brain, or people who don't follow it don't have a brain?
It's just a lot of people are saying they're confused. Just pay attention.
I would agree, and I think that kind of ties into modern day society, 21st century, 2019 as a whole, that a lot of people's attention span doesn't really last very long, and they don't want to overly think things, and they just kind of want stuff right there in front of them, and they want it now, and you know, they don't kind of want to see, like, allow things to develop, and they don't, like, you know, for me, I don't find many of them too overly convoluted. And I know a lot of people say that about Becky, Charlotte and Ronda, and I'm sure we'll touch on to that later, but no, like, not for me. I feel like you said, if you just kind of watch it and pay attention, like, you'll understand where they're kind of going with it. Mm-hmm. There should always be that element of, where are they going, like, what is going on, what are they doing, like, what is the end game? Because nobody wants, in a storyline, no matter if it's wrestling or just like a television program you're watching, nobody wants a storyline. It's blatantly obvious where they're going. Uh-huh. You kind of want to be led there, as opposed to walking there on your own.
One of the complaints that have been levied at previous WrestleManias is that it's too predictable. Well, this is the answer to it. You have to be left guessing, keep yourself on your toes.
And look at this, right? We're going to have a WrestleMania that's going to have Seth versus Brock, Charlotte versus Becky versus Ronda, and potentially Daniel Bryan versus Kofi, right? Mm-hmm. Now, in years past, right, we would have looked at certain matches and be like, no, we know who's going to win this, and this, right? But out of those three, can you honestly say that we are going to see 3 new champions?
I'm convinced that Brock will retain.
It maybe will, but like, you know, a lot of people are looking like, wow, we could see 3 new champions, but I think the realistic thing is that we're probably going to see 2
at most.
And the funniest thing would be is if the person who retained it's Ronda.
or if it is 3 but it's Charlotte that wins.
So yeah, just to go back, touch on it, storyline wise, no, I don't find them too convoluted. I think the Becky with a limp and an injured leg and stuff,
oh god,
you know, that I feel like those kind of storylines only has so much legs before it kind of like,
no pun intended,
come on, you know. And I know that's what's going to happen at WrestleMania, and it's going to be like, as soon as she wins, look at that, she'll win it on one leg. And it's like, you know, at no point has Becky ever been the underdog in the last 6 months.
No, not once.
Fine, you could say at the Royal Rumble, where she was hurt, quote unquote, kayfabe hurt, but I don't know. Like, yeah, touching on it storyline wise, no, I don't find them too convoluted. I feel like you can get to from A to B a lot quicker rather than going off on all these tangents.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes
a tangent is necessary. Because at the end of the day, how do you make a storyline last for the better part of 2.5 months without adding 1 or 2 wrinkles into it?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing, like I say, is going back to Mustafa Ali. You know, like the show he put on, you know, some of the bumps he was taking, the final one into the ring barrier, it was just no hesitation, flying back, not even a care in the world. So happy to see Kevin Owens back,
who nearly died as well.
Yep. And like I said earlier on, Daniel Bryan is arguably the best thing going on in WWE at the moment.
I would say that too. It's definitely the most engaging, naturally, organically engaging. And with Ali, the 450 splash onto the apron, the avalanche tornado DDT onto the floor. I mean, I have seen him carry out these moves on 205 Live, but a lot of people haven't, so it will be fresh to them. And the crossbody at the end, when he turned round and was met with a knee to the face. Oh, see how you see those gifs out there, the Grand Theft Auto wasted gif. Someone needs to make a wasted gif of Ali getting smashed in the face with Brian's knee. That was something else. Fantastic. But
that'll be Richie's job, because he made up that Stevie Ray gif.
I never saw that one.
The one with the fire.
Right. Remember the gif of the NXT UK takeover, the tag team title match, and it was James Drake doing the suicide dive?
Vaguely.
Well,
not sure if I came across it.
He did suicide dive onto Tyler Bate, who was on someone's shoulders, and it was a wasted gift that came from it, and it was just perfect. But anyway, we're going off on one. What was great about that match, and you'll know where I'm going with this, what was great about all the multi-person matches, the Raw tag match, which I thought was quite enjoyable, the Shield match, the triple threat match, the Fatal 4-Way match, Organised Chaos.
Yep.
WWE does Organised Chaos so well, it's a joy to watch. And what I really liked about the Shield match is the Shield guys, as a unit, that Organised Chaos looks less organised and it feels more like an actual scrap. And you really had that sense. There was a moment where they were just around the timekeeping area and there were spears and super kicks all over the place, but it looked as if it wasn't rehearsed, if that makes sense. It was just a frenzied mess, which is what the Shield do best.
And since we're talking about the Shield match, we are not avid fans of Baron Corbin.
Oh, no.
But what we are is we're truthful, and we'll hold our hands up, and we'll give people the due where they deserve it. And I'll say it, I thought Baron Corbin during that match was excellent. I thought he'd more than played his part. And see that, like, I know people have spoken about it, and we spoke about it on our Facebook and our WhatsApp group with the Edge Boys and Rob. Just when Baron Corbin at that moment went in character and he realises that he's on his own and he's surrounded by the Shield, you know, like, I tip my hat off to him. Like I said, a couple of months ago I said some real negative things about him, which I believed, but I'll take my hat off to him and say, you know, I was impressed with him last night. On Sunday night. And I feel he was too green when he initially came up. Way too green. He had those two epic moves that he had. And that's all he kind of had. There was a period where, because they kept touching on his amateur background, boxing background, there was a period that's all he would kind of do, and it's just like, this is kind of getting old. But like, I'm not saying I'm a Corbin fan or anything. I'm just saying I was impressed with him on Sunday. You know, and I take my hat off to him. Like I said, he more than played his part.
Well, for me, one passable performance out of many does not a decent wrestler make. So I'm not on the Corbin.
I've not done like a full like turn on him or anything the way I done with Brock. I'm just saying, like, you know, we're going to criticise guys, right? But at the same time, we're going to give guys some credit when they deserve it. And I felt his performance deserves some praise.
His End of Days and his Deep Six are two of the most explosive moves in all of WWE. I will give him that, and I have given him that since NXT. The rest of it, though, vacuous.
End of Days is like, when it's hit beautifully, is one of the prettiest finishers around.
Remember when Chad Gable in the NXT Respect pay-per-view? Chad Gable was tilt-a-whirling all over the place. That was the best End of Days I've ever seen. I remember I kept going on about that for days.
You did.
I'm still not sold on him. I am sold on Drew McIntyre, though. It's unfair for me that he's lumped with those two guys, because the performance he put on against Dean Ambrose on Monday night was brutal.
Yep.
The visual of him Claymore kicking Dean Ambrose's head through the stair rail thing, and the stair rail coming out of its hinges, star making stuff.
I don't think we need to say too much about Drew, because I think people already know how we feel about him.
Just get that accent changed, please.
Well, you know what it is? It's like that. It's like a posh air accent mixed in with an American kind of accent.
Yeah, it's the Gerard Butler syndrome, where he started his career in Scotland and then he moved closer to the east coast of America and he starts talking like this all the time.
I suppose, like, could you imagine Nikki Cross just walking about in America just talking the way like you would normally talk?
She does. Dakota.
I can understand why he speaks the way he does. It's twofold. For people to for people to understand him, but on top of that, see, when you're somewhere for so long, you kind of can't help but picking up that kind of accent.
See, to be in his defence, actually, that's something that I think is going in Joe Hendry's favour. World of Sport, ICW guy. He also had a bit of a run in TNA, and you talked before about him. You weren't too convinced, but I think he's got enough of everything, just a bit of everything to make him stand out. And one of those things is a very well enunciated Scottish accent, which the people anywhere outside of Scotland can easily understand. So Drew does have that going for him. It's just #cringe for us, because there's no way he spoke like that as a youngster.
Well, he doesn't speak like me and you. He isn't.
I mean, he's from Ayr, but so is Grado.
I get that, but I also play football. Remember, I play football every single Monday night with someone who grew up with Drew McIntyre
right.
and sees Drew McIntyre whenever Drew comes back here.
And he speaks the same, doesn't he?
And he speaks the exact same. Well, not that with that American twang, but and like I say, so he's like you said, he speaks the exact same way as Drew does. And I think it's just where they've come from down in air, where it's like that. If it's private school, I have no idea. Or just if you want to say it's posh or what, I don't know. But I don't mind his accent as much. It's not great, but
we've dedicated
I can overlook it.
We've dedicated far too many minutes to Drew McIntyre's accent when we were talking about Baron Corbin.
I think when people listen to Ricky and Clive, I think they know we go off in tangents and there's randomness throughout the pod.
There is. Well,
that's what makes us us.
Will we get back on track then?
Yep.
What match would you like to talk about next?
SmackDown tag team match.
Oh, Christ. Okay.
The Usos are the best tag team in the WWE.
Incorrect, but go on.
Incorrect? You're still thinking it's a revival?
No, it's the Grizzled Young Vets, obviously.
Alright, okay. The bit at the end where Shane leaps off, and now I can't even remember which Uso it was that collided with him mid-air. That was awesome. But to be honest, it's more so what took place after the match. I think everyone felt Miz was going to turn on Shane, and I even said that in my predictions in the Social Suplex prediction league. But I also did mention it on this podcast a while back that it could be Shane that turns on him, and I'm not we're not massive Shane fans. We've come to the realisation in accepting that we're forever going to see Shane McMahon at WrestleMania jumping off something. We come to accept that. Doesn't mean we like it, but I like the dynamics of this match. I much prefer the dynamics of this match than if it was going to be the other way around. I think Shane as a heel is excellent, but I think more so Miz as a pure babyface. For me, I think that can be money. That's got so many legs, and you can keep going with this for a long time. I think the story itself is a guy, look at that, I was a reality star and I came and done something I've never done before and I busted my ass and look where I am, married, got kids, do films, it's a good kind of story. That's the only reason why I'm intrigued in this match, because of the dynamics of it.
I've got no worries that Shane McMahon will be a good heel. We saw that in the Attitude Era. He can be one of the most annoying heels in the game. But at what point did Miz, who was a cheating, conniving arsehole towards Daniel Bryan, at what point did he become this insecure, sensitive guy with daddy issues all of a sudden? It just, his journey just does not make sense for me. Where did this turn of events come from? Was it because he's become a dad himself?
Remember, it's in Saudi Arabia. In the match, who was it against? Was it Dolph?
But see the Miz that we know, the Miz that saw Shane McMahon come in and take the trophy for him, that Miz would hound Shane constantly.
Fatherhood changes everyone.
Didn't change him when he was fighting Daniel Bryan.
But it does over time.
Does
over time.
That should be a T-shirt on the Pro Wrestling Tees Social Suplex page. Fatherhood changes everyone.
We might be the only fathers on Social Suplex.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Let me see.
I don't think that's the case.
I don't think it is either, but oh well.
We could
all the dads could wear it.
We could actually start a Sid Justice fan club and call ourselves Fathers for Justice.
fuck.
Right, what were you saying? Sorry.
Just that it's more so that it's the Miz, it's the pure babyface this time around, and we didn't see him last night, so I'm looking forward to him coming back next week, hopefully.
Well,
I think a lot of people can get on board with it. I think I like it. It's different. We've been so used to seeing Miz as a heel,
and so used to seeing Shane as a face.
So it's just a change up. It's nice. I like it.
I'm not as invested as you are, but there are other reasons which I'm sure you know what they are. Speaking of that, link with disdain for old-timers, dinosaurs, part-timers, people who've not been on the show forever, stealing the spotlight, Nia Jax and Tamina Snuka destroyed Beth Phoenix, and that was one of the best moments of the show for me. I loved that.
Just specifically destroying Beth Phoenix?
I'm not going to lie, I can't remember much of the match, the tag match with Sasha and Bayley. It was very forgettable. Apart from, by the way, Sasha Banks, you need to stop that Meteora, the jumping double knees from the top rope. I can't remember the last time you landed that successfully. It looks awful. Stop it. But Nia Jax and Tamina Snuka, obviously not the greatest of wrestlers, but play to their strengths. Beth Phoenix comes in and just gets destroyed, and it was fantastic. Puts the part-timers in their rightful place. But now you know what this means, that Beth Phoenix will be involved in a programme going forward, and they'll probably go over Nia Jax and Tamina.
Yes, I like Beth Phoenix, you know this.
Oh, so do I.
So,
but
and the Royal Rumble showed that she's still good in the ring.
It's not...
there's probably too many part-timers, too many older folk, and I know if you're talking about there's no stars, well, that's not true because there are stars on the current roster.
Not to the extent of these stars that are being brought back, though. That's my issue.
That's different. No, I don't. For me, you can't compare that.
You have to compare it, though.
Not at this moment in time, because you're looking at Triple H, who's one of the greatest. You're looking at Batista, who was awesome, but he's now in Hollywood doing it's a different level of star, right there.
But
and then I think if you look at someone like Beth Phoenix, I can't even, as much as I love Beth Phoenix, but Charlotte and Becky and Ronda, they're all bigger than her.
Okay, I'll give you that one. But see, it's a different level of star. Exactly. Those old fogies were given that chance to be a different level of star by being put over at the biggest stages of them all.
I get that, but Batista's gone on to become an even bigger superstar.
Right.
So I feel like when you see Batista coming back and Brock, those are slightly different because they went on and achieved bigger success, in my opinion, outside of wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll put a positive spin on it then. I look forward to WrestleMania 40 when all these guys can't even walk anymore and we're left with the actual contemporary talent. I can't wait for that day.
Look, I mean, it'll eventually happen. That's, but like I said, I guess I've kind of got over the fact that they bring part-timers back. Like, for me, there's no point in me constantly angrily tweeting about it or saying stuff about it all the time when it's not going to change. Doesn't mean I'm happy with it or anything. I've just come to the acceptance that this is what they do at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's one of those things we'll forever agree to disagree on.
Yep.
But it's just a lot of the current roster are labelled as geeks by friends of ours as well, and they're going to remain geeks if they're considered afterthoughts on the biggest stages of them all. They're going to remain geeks if the likes of your Rusevs, your Bray Wyatts are going to be defeated so soundly by John Cena, they'll remain geeks forever until they get a real push behind them. We saw that Vince McMahon, it's not even a case of it being a one-way street, it's very much a two-way street, because Vince McMahon showed by giving Jinder the title for so long that he is willing to push someone. It's not a case of, I'm really great in the ring, so that means I should have the promo skills, everything, to get on top. Vince decides as well, and Vince needs to rely less.
I just want to say that, see this notion that WWE can't or won't create stars. Who the fuck do you think created Becky Lynch?
That's true. They're the women stars, but they need to. That's because there aren't that many part-time women floating about.
Yeah, but Roman's also a superstar. A legit superstar.
No, not to the extent of the other guys.
As who?
Cena,
As Batista?
Batista, Rock.
Right, see when Roman's 40-something years old, then we can have that debate. Now, you can only compare where Cena, Rock, those two are a kind of an exception, especially The Rock. But guys like Triple H and Batista and Undertaker, etc., etc., you cannot compare current Roman Reigns to the current Batista, Triple H, Undertaker. You'll need to go back to what they were 20 years ago and compare them to what they are now.
Roman Reigns will not reach the same level as Undertaker, as Batista, as The Rock. So
certainly not as Batista and The Rock if he doesn't do... certainly not The Rock, I don't think anyone will.
So, that's the point.
But in terms of superstardom, can he reach what The Undertaker is?
No.
I think he can. I think outside of wrestling, he definitely can. And he's already started doing movies. He's already been on Nickelodeon. He's already started taking that quote-unquote John Cena path. But my point is, you can't compare, right? For instance, I'll do it in a football way. You can't compare Henrik Larsson at the start of his Celtic career, right, to what Jimmy Johnson was in his prime at Celtic. Because you're not comparing them when they're both at their absolute peak. When one guy has had more time to establish himself than the other.
But the current wrestlers are at their peak. The current wrestlers have had time to establish themselves, but they're not being given the leeway by Vince to push through that glass ceiling.
But your point was the current stars aren't as big as a star as a modern day Batista.
Because they're not given that chance to be such a star.
But my argument is that the modern day Batista cannot be compared in terms of stardom to a current Roman Reigns. Not even Roman, someone else if you want. Right? Because Batista's gone on and done Hollywood. And I feel like you can't compare someone who's went outside of the wrestling business and done stuff to someone who's still very, very early on in their wrestling career, still in the wrestling business. Because he's got this whole other audience looking at him as well.
There's stuff outside of wrestling's not the issue. Of course, you can't compare them. You can't compare the treatment with which Batista and Taker were given to the treatment because it's not there. Will we move on?
I think this is something we're probably forever going to disagree on.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about how excellent Ronda Rousey is just now.
Like I said, that wasn't even a match, and it wasn't a problem. He kind of just had to. It was what it was. It was kind of similar to Ronda and Ruby Riott at the last pay per view. It was never about a match. It was more so what took place before and after it. And this was the same. This was kind of, let's just get this quote unquote match out of the way so we can do the actual bit that matters. So yeah, triple threat heading into WrestleMania. Looking forward to it.
What Ronda did on Sunday night made perfect sense and was genius on her part because she wants to make sure that there are as many eyes on her as possible. Because I'd seen a few people saying this was nonsense booking where she punched Becky.
I don't understand why you would say that. She wants to get her hands on both of them.
She wants to make sure.
She doesn't want potentially Becky say interfering or taking more eyes away from her as well. So I don't understand it.
Ronda wants to wait until the biggest night of the year to hold both of their severed heads aloft, basically.
Yep.
So she wants both of them and she's willing to just go to town on them. And a lot of people have been genuinely upset for some reason about Ronda's stuff that she's been doing lately, the videos, the tweets about calling wrestling fake. I think that's... I won't go so far as to say that's genius, but she's a super heel right now as a result.
And I suppose, like, the argument is there that do you really want to compromise, I don't know, integrity, or do you want to compromise whatever it is just for more clicks or more views or more likes, or is it a cheap way to get heel, blah blah blah. I don't know, like, me personally, does it bother me that she come out and says no, not at all? Sorry, you go.
Yeah, I agree with you. What I can imagine happening is Ronda's calling this all fake, and it won't look fake when Becky disarms her at Mania.
And the thing is, like, right, fine, if you want to get into kayfabe wise, you want a storyline, like, Ronda, you're calling it fake, but so why were you screaming in the locker room when Becky hired you in disarm her? Mm-hmm. Like, so if it's fake, why were you screaming? You know, if it's fake, why do you take a punch and fall back or take a step back? You know, like, so if I'm, like, fine, I get that, but I know this is a couple of weeks old, and like I said, we haven't had a chance to talk about it.
We've got a lot to catch up on.
Bother me.
No.
Doesn't fucking bother me. Like, do you think really there's a guy walking about this fucking universe with a cape on and a mask on trying to save the world, and it comes from Gotham City? Like, do you think someone like that actually exists?
What gets me is that people are offended about Ronda calling this fake when, for instance, Triple H said on Monday night, talking about the security that came down with Batista, calling them the guardians of the independent scene, or when everyone's sharing GIFs or sharing tweets of an independent...
I'm going to ask you a question, right?
Right.
Do you listen to any... Like, I know the answer to this, right, obviously. Do you listen to another wrestling podcast, say, of a current or retired wrestler?
Yes.
So, when said wrestler has another wrestler on and they're sitting talking about their journey and how they book matches and this and that, do you listen to that? So, Austin or Jericho or whoever, or Bruce Pritchard or Conrad or whoever are talking about behind the scenes stuff and how they got this gimmick to go over, how they got this match, how they done this, blah 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 blah. That doesn't offend you when you're going out your way to go listen to a podcast that tells you what they do, therefore showing you that it's fake, but someone coming out in that profession saying it is fake.
I'll go one further than that. Before, I was saying the tweets that people send out of the independent shows where someone throws a fake grenade and the other person catches the invisible, or you've got the Invisible Man, Joey Janela's pal, the Invisible Man, who's died and stuff. It's, you know, what can you say about that? And then you've got John Cena, who's broke the fourth wall more times than I'd care to remember. You've got John Cena, who's calling out The Rock for having the lines written on his hand. You've got CM Punk, who was lauded as an absolute saviour of the business, who broke every wall, every boundary between fiction and reality at that pipe bomb, and he was considered a legend. It's simply because you don't like Ronda Rousey. If you just accept that you don't like her, and you play in to the fact that she's offending you in whatever way, instead of treating it as if, oh, this is unfair to the business, it will be looked at a lot more healthily than it is.
Right, and I can get people saying that, like, I can understand why people are like don't like it, because in all honesty, if you ask me, it's like, in all seriousness, I would rather she never done it, but I couldn't care less that she did.
Mm-hmm.
Because, oh, by the way, remember how Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega despised one another? Well, do you remember how they brought out a podcast 2 days after their match at Wrestle Kingdom?
Mm-hmm.
And they discussed how they got together and what they done with the match. That doesn't offend you, but what she's tweeting out does offend you.
I mean, didn't Vince... See, after the Montreal Screwjob, didn't Vince McMahon come out and say something? This is the Attitude Era, this is stories, but we're going to give you better stories or something?
And remember, Vince McMahon was on trial and told everyone wrestling was predetermined and fake and everything.
Mm-hmm. It's just...
Fuck me, man.
It's purely because people don't like Ronda Rousey, and that's fine. But don't be so toxic about it. But there is one thing...
There's just no need.
There is one thing...
By the way, just to let people know, by the way, just to let you know, Game of Thrones is fake. Just putting it out there, right? Just so people know.
And also, just to let you know, the books are better. I just had to get that in there.
Harry Potter's fake. Lord of the Rings is fake. There isn't a ring out there that someone needs to take into the mountains and throw it into the volcano and burn it so mankind can live forever.
Oh, that would be great if mankind could live forever, ever.
It's nonsense.
There is one thing about Ronda, though, that bothers me.
Yep.
On Monday night, Ronda Rousey attacked Dana Brooke, and she did their finishing move, Piper's Pit it's called.
Yep.
Ronda has quite a dangerous looking moveset arsenal. A lot of the moves she does look quite dangerous, and she didn't grip Dana Brooke properly. She grabbed her with her left hand by the shoulder instead of her head, so when she whipped her round, Dana Brooke nearly landed square on her head, and that could have been a career-ending injury. I don't know if she's done that before, but especially with the disdain that she's met with just now, she'll need to rein in any even small mistakes like that, because her moveset is so quickly delivered. One wrong angle, one wrong inch, and she could really injure someone, and that would not go down well. So she needs to watch for that stuff. I don't know if you caught that or not.
No, I did, and I would agree with you. I suppose the only thing I would say is that she is still really, really green, but yeah, no, I agree.
She's green, but that's her go-to move. She should have mastered that by now.
I know, and I noticed that straight away, and I agree with you. It's just, obviously you want to keep each other safe, but at the same time, you don't want to keep giving people more ammo. And
exactly.
See, at the end of the day, we've all got our favourites and stuff like that, so if one of our favourites done that, we kind of try and defend it, and I do like Ronda, but that's one move that it's been more than a couple of times that she's not hit that properly.
Was there not a match against Nikki Bella where she did some sort of Death Valley driver off the top rope, and it looked, that was so close to being a broken neck?
Yep.
Nia Jax as well, I think. It's just, if you're going to say that wrestling's fake, then make sure you don't really injure someone, Ronda. Seriously, it'll go so badly for you. What other matches have we not discussed from Fastlane? The Raw tag match?
Yeah, it was a fun match. I expect Ricochet and Black to win it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Probably WrestleMania. Speaking of Aleister Black, did you see him and Lana?
Oh God, aye.
On Twitter.
That was poor.
Poor, aye.
And it's not
from...
Well, we know that Lana's like that. Aleister Black, that doesn't even seem to be, not even with keeping within his character, keeping within him as a person.
I think what's probably been overlooked there is that people are talking about how he's body shamed her. Well, Lana, you body shamed him first, referring to all his tattoos and stuff, and it's like, who the fuck are you to say anything about anyone else? I just mean that as a whole. People can do what the fuck they want to their bodies.
And remember the hypocrisy, so people are calling out Aleister Black for calling Lana plastic, and Becky Lynch called Charlotte plastic on Tuesday night, but Becky Lynch can do no wrong. I mean,
it probably comes across that we don't like Becky. It's not
really?
Even the truth.
It's not, it's just the utter bias with which she's
Yep.
looked upon.
Yep.
As if she's the only one that's been the best thing going in the company. But she's got her faults, she has her flaws. Other people have done stuff just like her, and they don't get the same credit that she does.
No, that says I do like Becky.
But I like the Raw tag match. 3 very different teams. You've got the guys, the Revival, that are just wanting to do the tag team wrestling, reviving the tag team scene. You've got Chad Gable and Bobby Roode. They've turned into a very good team. They're also kind of all about the wrestling, but they've got a bit of flair about them as well. And then you've got Aleister Black and Ricochet, who are, I think it's actually one of those rare occasions where someone has been brought up from NXT, and the fact that NXT is looked upon better in some circles, and the people are threatened by that, because quite a few people are gunning for Aleister Black and Ricochet at the moment. The young upstarts, I don't think Ricochet's that young, but they're the upstarts, and they've come in and they've they've brought a lot of eyes onto them, a lot of appreciation. Their moveset is frantic, it's crazy, so people are quite enjoying that. Some of the things they do, I mean, the pose where they both bounce off the ropes, that literally does nothing to further their moves. I thought about that when I saw a GIF the other day, and I thought there is literally no need to do that at all. So it's a bit bizarre, but I think more often than not with Ricochet, his flippy shit does have a purpose. Just now and again he does things that are just not needed.
Yep, no, I agree completely.
Have we missed anything? Randy Orton, AJ Styles?
You mean just in general, like went from Fastlane?
Well, there is that. The whole thing with Elias was just a shambles, but it was...
I couldn't care less about Elias anyway.
It's come to the point now where I think, I don't care. It's not even. I don't even want to boo you. I want to skip what you're doing. But it was built up for the payoff with the RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah, AJ Orton. But I just wanted to touch on something from Raw. That Kurt Angle's last match is going to be in a few weeks' time.
It is.
And I know some people are saying, who should it be? Who's it going to be? I tweeted out, I don't think it's possible. But if it is, it needs to be Jason Jordan.
If he's been off TV this long, they won't bring him in for that. They won't risk.
Yeah, I mean, I still think he could, but we don't even think the guy might never wrestle again. Who knows? So no idea what's going on there. Unless as my tweet said, I don't think it is possible, and it probably isn't. But if it could be anyone, I would like to see that father versus son.
And the passing of the torch.
Yep, and it needs to. And I know some people have put out some people saying Joe or Cena or Taker or whoever. I'd rather it was a younger guy.
This one has to be a younger guy, please.
I just don't know who it could be. Could be Drew.
Well, it's kind of looking like Drew and Roman will lock horns again.
Not at WrestleMania, I don't think. I don't know, actually. I don't even know what they're going to do with Roman at WrestleMania. And since we're speaking about the members of the Shield, I have no idea what's going on with Ambrose anymore.
It's a work.
So, yeah. I still think it is. But I just no idea where it's going. But Kurt, I would like it to be Jason Jordan if possible. If not, then I think it might be Drew.
Scott, I'd love it to be I'll say this the last time tonight, a contemporary superstar, so that they've got in their resume that they beat Kurt Angle in his last match. Obviously, it's Angle's retirement match, so he'll be staring at the lights at the end of the night, probably on a stretcher, but give that to someone new, please.
I agree.
Finn, because Finn was just stripped. Basically, he was stripped of that IC title. He did nothing.
This also ties into the reports that I saw a while back that Finn could be going to 205.
Well, they're desperate for people. Sir Sam put out a column last week on Lords of Pain that 205 Live basically needs a complete revamp because it's just... They've got a tournament on the go just now. There's some decent matches on the go. Buddy Murphy will be at WrestleMania. Main event man himself. So that's fine. But it's just... There's just a lethargy about it all just now. Since Ali left, they've not recovered.
I also don't think it helps the fact that they've put it back now to Tuesdays. I don't think it helps that it's kind of seen like an afterthought. I feel like you could make that into a real good programme for yourselves if you just put some more effort into it.
Without sounding too melodramatic, I'm just going to use a play on words. They literally ripped the heart of 205 Live out of it with Ali, and they've just not got that same like proper wholesome good guy hero on 205 Live anymore. It's not there.
Enter Finn Balor.
I would love it. Finn Balor and Buddy Murphy, yes please.
Yep. Randy Orton versus AJ. I'm here for that most definitely.
I'll hold my hands up. I'll be a hypocrite. I'll be up for watching that match.
That's definitely that. Orton promo was fucking excellent.
Yes.
You just know that he loves to say stuff like that because he gets such disdain for the indies and the flips and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And you know when he's saying this stuff, he genuinely means it.
Aye, he doesn't. It's a MAGA fest between those two, though.
It really is.
I wonder if that portion of the WrestleMania will be sponsored by Gillette. But I think Orton has been motivated. I know that's a term that keeps popping up in relation to him, but I think it's true.
I think he is motivated for this one, and just because you said MAGA, we decided MAGA no longer means what it means.
I can't remember what it was.
It was make Ascension great again. Were they ever great?
Well, they were put over strong in NXT, but I'd only started watching it when they get beat by Hideo Itami and Finn Balor. But that music...
I know, here you go.
Here I go. That music deserves to close out WrestleMania.
What utter fucking nonsense. Yep.
Even if it's just, remember they used to do the highlight package at the end of WrestleMania? Just put the Ascension's music over
it. So final thought from TV this week. You know, we're going to get an hour of Kofi wrestling next week. It's going to be awesome. I expect him to win it.
I expect him to get some help because he's facing Joe, he's facing Orton, he's facing The Bar and Rowan. Is that right?
I think so.
And each of those guys have people who are gunning for them elsewhere. AJ, Joe's probably got R-Truth or someone else. The Bar have got either the Hardy Boys or Black O'Shea. So they've all got someone that wants to get a piece of them as well. So it might devalue... I mean, it's a bit much to ask Kofi to beat every single one of them. Do you know what I mean? Clean. Mm-hmm. So I can see some shenanigans afoot. Not that that's a bad thing, because if it means that Kofi wins at the end of the day, it's going to be a great main event of SmackDown. All for it.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a great match.
I'm trying to think.
Great watch.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else on TV that caught my attention, but there's nothing off the top of my head. Dana Brooke. That was a fake Dana Brooke. That was funny. Waking up in the morning and one of the first things you had to say about Raw was that wasn't even the real Dana, was it?
She just looks so different.
Well, she does, but I've seen her look so different many times now. And I think I know why. Because bodybuilders can sculpt their body how they see fit. So she's probably done stuff with that. With regards to her face, when Sasha Banks doesn't have makeup on, she looks completely different. It's as if she's got...
I wasn't even getting it, the fact that she didn't have any makeup on it, like little makeup on.
What I mean is...
I wasn't trying to like shame her or nothing like that.
It's a different person entirely.
She just looked really different from what you're normally used to seeing her.
But makeup can...
says, I'm not fucking here to say shit about what people look like. You do what you want to do.
I'm not talking about how attractive people are. I'm just saying that makeup can sculpt a face like weights can sculpt a body.
Yep. Oh, makeup is just... You can do whatever the hell you want with that.
Maybe that was Dana Warrior that was out there on Monday night.
Nah. She's old.
That's true. That's one word for her. An enabler is another. Right, before we get into trouble, anything else? I'm sure there's probably 1,000 things that we've missed. From Fastlane and Raw and SmackDown.
I don't think there's anything I want to touch on now.
Okay. Will we move on to the quiz then?
Yep.
Okay. Let's put some music in now.
It's fucking quiz time with Ricky and Clive and friends. A fucking WWE quiz.
Okay, Ricky, your turn for the quiz this week. What have you got in store for me tonight?
Yeah, I don't have a quiz prepared.
I know that you're a liar.
I am a liar.
I know you now.
Yep. Question number 1. So the first 5 questions are anagrams.
Oh no.
Of pay-per-views.
I deserve this, don't I?
So, number 1.
Will you at least text them to me?
This first one I don't need to text to you.
Okay.
So the first anagram is Anal Fest.
Oh dear. Is it... I was trying to think of a joke there and say in your house, but you might get offended.
For fuck's sake.
Fastlane.
Correct. Number 2. Deal, fly, loud.
Deal, fly, loud. And it's a pay-per-view.
Yes.
Deal, fly, loud. And it's got a Y in it. Fully loaded.
Yep. Number 3. Albert, Jeff, Rails.
As in off the rails?
Yes.
Albert, Jeff, Rails. Okay. Oh, this one looks hard. Albert, Jeff, Rails. Give me a clue, a time frame of when this would have been.
Oh God.
Like what era? What era?
It was 2018.
2018?
Yep. Sorry, 17.
Jeez, oh. Albert Jeff Rails. I'm thinking it can't be. Right, it's not Great Balls of Fire. Oh, right, so 2018 we had Royal Rumble, Fastlane, Elimination Chamber, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Extreme Rules. What's the one after Extreme Rules called? Payback. Then there was Backlash or Money in the Bank. You've just made that up, haven't you?
Yeah, I've just made it up.
TLC, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Halloween Havoc. I give up. I pass.
I want an answer.
I've not got an answer. I'm trying to think. What was in July? Battleground? No, I haven't.
First of all, how are you spelling Jeff? Let's clear that up first of all.
Jeff.
No.
So
Geoff.
Ah, right. Now that's where the misunderstanding comes from. It's Great Balls of Fire.
Yes.
My God, we could have been here all night.
I probably should have just texted to you, but I couldn't be bothered.
I've
Number
noticed.
4. Alone, Pimp, Unstitch.
Alone, Pimp, Unstitch. Alone, Pimp, Unstitch, and it's.
I'd be somewhat surprised if you got this one, but
Let me see. That's a very long one. It's not in your house. There's not an in your house in there. Error?
It was in the early 2000s.
Right, so it's not Judgment Day, it's not Vengeance.
Sorry, the early part of this decade.
No, I didn't watch a lot of it then. But you don't care, do you?
Oh, why would I?
Alone, Pimp, Unstitch.
Right, so I'll give you a clue.
Thank you.
The poster of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the front of the poster was the world's most powerful man.
I didn't know that Dominic Dijakovic was on a poster. Pimp, Pun, Panic at the Disco.
You made that up?
Alone, Pimp, Unstitch.
Nope.
Pain. Oh, I think I'm getting somewhere. Was there something Pain?
No.
Here Comes the Pain.
No.
Alone, pass, and I can't give you an answer. I haven't got one.
So, the first word, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is... So I'll name stuff to you, right?
Word association.
Yep. Edinburgh. London.
Capital Punishment.
Correct. Well done.
Edinburgh.
Right, next one.
Is this the last one?
Yeah, last anagram.
Oh, God.
You've got 5. Right, here we go.
I'm ready.
Bright. Gag. Rings.
Bright Gag Rings. Bright Gag Rings. Can you please give me a time scale, a time frame era thing? please.
Yeah. It was the late part of the 2000s and the early part of the decade.
Yes, bragging rights.
Yep. Well done.
Okay, thank you. Are there more questions?
Yes. Question number 6.
You sounded so happy there.
What was the main event of 2015 Fastlane and what was the stipulation?
Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. The winner would go on to WrestleMania to face Brock Lesnar.
Correct. Question number 7. On the same pay-per-view, Rusev defeated John Cena for the US title. How did he beat him?
It was a submission match, which means there are no kind of disqualification rules, if that's right, and he booted him in the balls before giving him an accolade.
Okay. But what took place once they put him in the accolade?
Cena passed out.
Correct. Question number 8.
Back when Rusev was treated like a star.
Yes, sure. Question number 8. In the 2016 Fastlane pay-per-view, Roman Reigns defeated who to become the number 1 contender?
He defeated Dean Ambrose in a triple threat with Brock Lesnar.
Correct. Question number 9. You're going for 10 out of 10 here.
I know, but I got a bit of help with some of the anagrams.
That's fine.
Oh, I'll take it.
In the 2018 pay-per-view, Randy Orton defeated who in the US title match?
Randy Orton was a US champ in 2018? You sure? This is one of those trick questions, isn't it?
No, it was a one-on-one singles match.
For the US title?
Yep.
I literally have no recollection of Randy Orton being a US champ in 2018, but it rings a bell now because did he not recently become a Grand Slammer?
Perhaps, maybe not. Maybe it was champ, maybe it wasn't. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
It sounds like it, but I'm going to guess it beat Bobby Roode.
Correct. Remember they had the Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania and Jinder of all people win it?
Oh, Jinder.
This is it. Question 10. In 2017, Adrian Neville defeated who for the Cruiserweight title in the Cruiserweight title match?
Rick Swann.
Final answer?
Yes.
I can't believe you got the 205 one wrong.
What?
You got it wrong, sir.
Ask the question again.
Jeez, I just closed it down. Here we go. Oh, touch that. In the 2017 Fastlane pay-per-view.
Oh, Fastlane. Can I re-answer, please?
What pay-per-view do you think I was talking about?
Well, you didn't say Fastlane.
Oh, I assume, sorry, right, on you go.
Jack Gallagher.
Correct, 10 out of 10.
Just with some loopholes in there. Thank you.
It's fine.
Right. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted because I'm looking at my phone and the United Kingdom is falling apart before my very fucking eyes, so I'm a bit a bit worried right now. So anything you want to plug before we go?
Don't think so. What did you see on your phone?
Just the chat on the WhatsApp group about digestives and then fucking Brexit happening or not happening or God knows what. Brexit means Brexit. Right. What?
Brexit means Brexit.
Right, so I've got a couple of things to plug tonight, if that's all right. Obviously, as per usual, please check out the rest of the show.
Sorry, I don't want to cut you off. I actually do have something to plug.
I could have done the perfect plug there, and now
could have, but actually, I was actually going to do this at the beginning of the show, but I forgot. Folks, so as you're listening to this, can you all please give my fellow co-host and podcast partner and good friend of mine, Clive, a round of applause. He's made the final on the LOP column forum. Doing great stuff. Read every single one you've wrote.
Thank you very much.
Proud of you. Proud of you, and I really hope you do win.
Yes, I was actually going to mention that, but I was going to be a gracious competitor and wish my opponent, Samuel Plan from Lords of Pain, the best of luck.
We wish you no luck.
Right. He's an internet friend, just in case he's listening to this.
He is, and I'm assuming he'll get the banter.
Because we've been in trouble before with attacking people online and then having to delete it.
Because you bitched out.
I did bitch out in massive fashion. But yes, so the Lords of Pain columns tournament, I'm in the final. Check me out on Friday. I'll drop the column then if you want. You can't have an impact on the decision of who wins, but some retweets would be nice. Apart from that, check out a couple of Lords of Pain columns on the go, the usual 205 Live columns, which are also on socialsuplex.com, and I have an ongoing series with the Doc, Chad Matthews, where we rate, it's like an updated top 10 matches of 205 Live throughout 2019, so 1 month we'll have the top 10 so far, and then the second month it's updated, if that makes sense. What other things have I got working? There is something else I've been asked to do with regards to Lords of Pain, but I will keep that under my hat for the time being until we get closer to the time. With regards to the podcasts, you have us, you have new to the network, NXT Then Now Forever, hosted by James Boyd, where he looks at an episode of NXT this week and an episode on NXT this week 5 years ago. So it's quite a cool wee thing he's doing there, where he's comparing and contrasting what the show was like back then to now. That's just started, so make sure you get on the bandwagon for that. You also have One Nation Radio, keeping it strong style, all things elite. That's right, isn't it? I wonder if I'm going to say that wrong one week. Grown Men Watch This Shit, and of course Keeping It Strong Style, hosted by Joshua and Jeremy. Jeremy, who has sent out a video online looking suave as feck, promoting Suplex Mania, where it'll be a social suplex party, podcasts, quizzes, drinking games, all the stuff that you want at the Hooters right outside Madison Square Gardens on the day of WrestleMania. If you're going to be in the vicinity, head along. If you've not got a ticket for WrestleMania, you can watch it there with some Social Suplex personalities. I would pay money to go there.
Personalities they are.
Yes. Characters.
Caleb.
So all those podcasts, rate and review them on the Social Suplex Podcast Network, part of the app that you use, whether it's Google Play, Podbean, Apple Podcasts. See, this would have been perfect if you didn't put me over a few minutes ago.
I'm such a bastard that I wanted to congratulate my friend.
Social Suplex. See if I say Social Suplex one more time. The Squared Circle Facebook group, check us out there. Socialsuplex.com has the podcast, it has the columns. You can subscribe to both to come directly to your email. Powerslam.tv has the lots of free wrestling for a month with the use of Social Suplex, and I've said it again, promo code. And we are finally at Ricky and Clive on Twitter and Facebook. Now, in order...
And shout out to The Edge, the brothers.
The Edge, shout out to the...
Why We Watch.
Why We Watch. Took me a minute to remember that one there. It's a good show. I'd like to go on that one some point soon.
Take the hint down.
I was meaning to do this a few weeks ago. Do you know how Mags and Bags listens to us at twice the speed?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if you can listen to us, understand this, and make sure you can understand what we're saying now. Okay, thanks very much. Goodbye.
Was that your joke of the week, or have you just retired that segment altogether?
No, I wasn't. I was just seeing if you'll be able to understand what I said. However...
Let's see if anyone... Oh, we're still going?
Uh-huh.
Alright, okay, I thought we stopped recording.
No. See, in order for him to wrestle his last match, Kurt Angle has to do some cognitive tests to make sure his brain's alright after all the pills he's popped over the years, right? That's not the funny bit, that's actually quite tragic when you think about it.
I fucking it's tragic. You're laughing at it.
I know. But part of the cognitive test was that the doctor showed him 3 pictures, 3 similar photographs, and he had to guess which one of them was the Hoover Dam. So they're all like similar dams, and he had to say which one was the Hoover Dam. And he looked at it for a minute, the pictures, and said, "Oh, it's 2. It's Dam 2.
Jeez. Rob, I don't find that funny. Oh, right. Take care, folks.
Night, and we'll speak to you next week when we will probably... The UK island will have sunk for some reason.
No, well, Brexit's not... When date is it? 29? Is it 29th?
I don't know. Here's so many...
I think it is. Fuck, payday. We're not even going to get paid that day.
It's worse than the dirt sheets, man. You get so many different bits of information that you don't know what to believe.
Fucking ridiculous.
Theresa May is Dave Meltzer, basically.
I feel bad for Theresa May. She didn't even want to leave. She didn't even want to leave in the first place.
So what the fuck did she take the job for? Right, this is a
because
different...
she was basically she was given it. You know, it wasn't like it was a general election when she was first brought in.
This is...
It was David Cameron's doing. That idiot thought that, oh well, if I call it, people won't do it, and he thought that people would say no, and then it turns out people said yes for whatever reason, and now we're fucked.
We're fucked. Pray for us.
I pray for us indeed.
This has been the Ricky and Clive Politics Show.
We need to move to America.
Okay.
We should.
But they don't know what digestives are over there. Right.
Oh, we'll do. Some of them do. Rob does.
Let's press stop, eh?
Right, take care, folks.
Night. And we'll see you because we're moving to America. Coming to America.
Thank you for listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.